All right, so our bread and butter here, Cyrus, is talking about different stocks. I'm going to name a couple companies: Tesla, Meta, Amazon. Also, OpenAI is on this list. These are the list of companies that young workers, they see as, quote unquote, the most evil. I'm kind of euphemizing it, but these are companies that they just don't like. You say years ago they would have actually had a positive view on these companies. What's happened over the last couple of years?
Yeah, can you imagine the fact that if you were to go back a few years ago and tell somebody that 68% of young people view Tesla as unethical and 51% of people viewed Exxon unfavorably, that people would view Tesla less favorably than Exxon? I think that that person would slap you in the face. I think basically in the case of Tesla, you've got Elon's 11-month picnic with Trump making the company that makes emission-free cars viewed more unethically than the fossil fuel king. I think that's going to matter a lot, the leadership from the top.
So what does that say about these younger workers and their views of corporate America, the fact that they've changed their views so starkly on these different companies and they see them, quote unquote, as evil? Does that mean they don't want to work there, or do they want to work there and potentially change the culture?
It's such a great question. I think the first thing that it tells you is that corporate reputation is extremely fragile. Even if you do something that is inherently really good for the world in terms of making the roads greener, it doesn't mean that you're immune from criticism, because the leaders and the people at the top and front and center at the company, if they have certain political tinge, then that is going to affect corporate reputation of the company with young people. Unclear how that plays out in terms of hiring. But let's put it this way. God bless their comms teams. I think that they're doing hard work at this stage of the game.
All right, let's talk about the return to office. So 52% of these younger workers say they're in the office every single day. 86% say they're in the office 4 days a week. Do they want to be in the office? Is this a change of culture? Because I know a lot of other people, especially people with kids, in all fairness, and other family responsibilities, they like the flexibility. Why is this generation so comfortable being back in the office?
Yeah, and don't you remember a few years ago, it felt like, every CEO was hiring DJs and, bringing in like a petting zoo, and Jamie Dimon was giving a weekly sermon to get people back into the office. We had data even as far back as 2021 that said that young people aren't just open to being in the office, but actually preferred to be in the office more than other age blocks. And I think it's exactly for the reasons that you mentioned, Frank, that they don't have families. They are ready to get in the workplace. They want to ascend, and they need mentorship, and they need those casual collisions that you have with other workers. So mentorship, community, leaps in your career, that's what's driving that.
All right. So, Cyrus, you polled about 18,000 workers between 18 and 34. So that's the young people that we're talking about. Now, this is actually pretty interesting. I want to make sure I'm getting this one right. 67%, about two-thirds of the people you polled, they say they strongly support keeping some DEI initiatives, but 58% say they don't want to talk about politics at work. So does that mean that they want to see these initiatives, but they don't want to speak up about them? Does that mean that they're nervous about talking about these things? Because this is a very polarizing issue in this nation, not only in the workplace, but in D.C. and just all around.
Yeah, totally agree. And isn't it? I feel like it's the letters that have gotten particularly charged. It's the DEI, not necessarily the diversity, the equity, or the inclusion that are particularly controversial for young people and in general. I think they're drawing a line between personal values and public fights. They're not watching the Fox News and MSNBC debate on whether or not those letters, those three letters, are a good thing or a bad thing. They're basically just saying, look, I want to work with people that don't look like me. Don't drag us into the culture war nonsense.